After the funeral for her husband, all the guests from both sides of the family left, and so did her children. The next day, she too departed, but now she was truly alone at nearly 60 years old. With her sons grown, married, and living far away, the house felt empty, the space around her suddenly vast and quiet, a stark contrast to the life she once knew. She spent the morning tidying up and then visited her neighbors to thank them for their help during the recent events. As she returned home, the phone rang. It was her eldest son calling from Hanoi. "Mom, how are you doing? Did you sleep well last night?" he asked with concern. "Yes, son, I slept a little," she replied. "Where are you?" "I can hear children in the background." "Mom, our nanny took a leave because her husband is sick and had to be admitted to the hospital. I just dropped her off at the bus station, but now we don't have anyone to watch the baby, and I'm overwhelmed with work." She hesitated. She loved her son, and of course her grandchild. She knew that no one would care for the baby like she would. Besides, the house was too quiet, and with her tasks completed, she thought, why not help her son? It would save him money and give her something meaningful to do. So she said, "All right, I'll come up tomorrow and help you watch the baby." Her son's joy was palpable through the phone. "Thank you, Mom. That would be such a relief. Please come early so I can head to work, and don't worry about bringing anything heavy." The next morning, she visited the market, purchasing chicken, duck, and beef from her trusted vendors. She even bought breakfast for the family and arrived at her son's home before they were even awake. From that day on, she stayed with them to care for her 2-year-old granddaughter. She had heard the advice from others: grandparents should only visit their children, but shouldn't stay to raise their grandchildren. But she thought, I'll care for them wholeheartedly, treat my daughter-in-law like my own, and surely everything will be fine. She was gentle and kind by nature, confident in her ability to foster harmony. After all, hadn't she lived with her mother-in-law for over 65 years? Times were hard back then. They didn't have maids or money to spare. She recalled how she had kept her mother-in-law company, sharing stories, playing cards, and laughing together. Those were simpler, warmer times. Now, as a grandmother herself, she found great joy in caring for her granddaughter. She woke early, skipping her morning exercises to head to the market and cook a nutritious breakfast for her family. She wanted to ensure her children wouldn't have to rush through unhealthy meals from street vendors. As the days turned into weeks, the routine settled in, and she found fulfillment in the closeness she shared with her granddaughter. However, something was missing. Her daughter-in-law rarely spoke to her. Each day, there were only 3 exchanges: a good morning, a good evening, and a polite thank you at the dinner table. Despite her efforts to initiate conversation, her daughter-in-law would remain silent, though she laughed freely when talking to her husband. This silence weighed on her heart, but she kept it to herself, not wanting to burden her son with any complaints. One evening, she prepared a dish she knew her daughter-in-law enjoyed, hoping it would bridge the gap, but nothing changed. Her daughter-in-law was busy with work, high-stress tasks with foreign clients, often late into the night. She sympathized, yet the distance between them grew, despite her efforts. Eventually, a day came when the tension boiled over. One morning, she found her daughter-in-law cooking sticky rice without salt. Gently, she suggested, "You should add a pinch of salt to the rice, dear, to give it some flavor." Without a word, her daughter-in-law threw the entire dish into the trash. "If it's bland, why eat it at all?" she snapped. The hurt was deep, but she said nothing. Instead, the next day, she calmly called her son and his wife and said, "The children are older now, and you don't need me anymore. I think it's time for me to return to the village. If you ever need help again, please discuss it together first before asking me." She left quietly, hugging her grandchildren, holding back tears. As she returned to her village, she didn't share her sorrow with her son, not wanting to cause any fights. She reflected on how challenging it had become to be a mother-in-law in these times. Though she reminded herself her daughter-in-law hadn't been outright disrespectful, perhaps she had been too sensitive. Back in her village, surrounded by familiar faces and the gentle sway of the bamboo, she found peace again. She joined her friends for morning exercises at the local community center, strolled through the village in the evenings, and gradually released the burden she had carried. She understood now those with experience had been right. Grandparents should visit their children but shouldn't stay to raise their grandchildren. Life in the village was simpler, and her heart felt lighter. In time, her son called to check in, and she always shared the good things about her life in the village, never letting on about the pain she had endured. As she immersed herself in her own hobbies and friendships, the weight of the past lifted. She realized that loving your children sometimes means letting them live their own lives without constant intervention. It also means finding happiness for yourself in the quiet moments without becoming a burden to anyone. And so, her life continued peacefully, filled with small joys and cherished moments, knowing that love requires not just sacrifice, but wisdom and, most importantly, balance. In the end, she had learned that sometimes the best way to care for your children is to care for yourself. Part 2. Don't rely on your children. 3 pillars of a secure and happy old age. Dear friends, as we grow older, what do we truly seek? Do we wish to live surrounded by our children and grandchildren, or do we desire happiness with our life partner? Many believe that in old age they should rely on their children, thinking that after a lifetime of hard work raising them, it's now their responsibility to repay us. However, this belief may not always hold true. Our children have their own lives, their own concerns, and their own burdens. They cannot always be there to care for us as we age. Therefore, to enjoy a peaceful and happy old age, we must build for ourselves the following 3 secure pillars. 1. First and foremost is health. Many people believe that saving up a lot of money is the key to a free and abundant life in old age, but they often forget that without health, money is meaningless. The saying health is wealth holds true in every situation. When we are young, we may be so engrossed in work that we neglect our health, often trading our well-being for success. Yet, as we grow older, we find ourselves willing to trade everything just to regain our health. It's important to realize that waiting until old age to care about our health is too late. A healthy body is the foundation of a happy life. Even with vast wealth, if we are constantly sick, what meaning does life hold? As we age, our bodies naturally weaken, and even if our children are filial and wish to care for us, they may lack the time, energy, or means. Without health, without the ability to work, or even to care for ourselves, we become a burden to others. And no parent wants to be a burden to their children. Taking care of your health in old age not only benefits you, but also relieves your children of one more worry. In fact, staying healthy is a responsibility we owe to ourselves and our loved ones. Learn to understand your body, find out what it needs, and take the time to exercise and eat well. Living a healthy life not only ensures you are not a burden to your children, but also fills your days with energy and vitality. Don't underestimate the power of a healthy body. It keeps the spirit youthful, regardless of age. 2. Secondly, a life partner. As we step into the later stages of life, the greatest happiness often comes from sharing our joys and successes with our children and grandchildren. Yet, this is only part of the story. At any age, we have our own emotions, and we still need love, understanding, and companionship from our life partner. The saying, "a spouse's care is worth more than a child's," is especially true for couples who have had the good fortune to grow old together. The care here is not just about meals or helping each other walk. It's about the deep understanding that only a lifelong partner can provide. But what if life hasn't blessed you with a partner into old age? Some people find themselves alone after the loss of a spouse, feeling the profound loneliness that can accompany old age. Despite being financially secure and having supportive children, the absence of a partner can leave a void. The story of Mr. Man from Hanoi illustrates this. After losing his wife nearly 20 years ago, he raised his children alone. Now, in his old age, despite his wealth and the love of his children, he still feels an emptiness without his wife by his side. Through a chance encounter at a community club, he met Mrs. Ho, and the two found companionship and mutual understanding in each other. However, their desire to marry was met with strong opposition from his children, who worried about societal judgment and financial implications. This situation reflects a broader challenge that many elderly people face: a need for companionship that is often misunderstood or disregarded by their families. In old age, having a life partner by your side is more than just a comfort. It's a source of joy, a person to share your days with, and a shoulder to lean on. Even the most devoted children cannot always be there for you, and it is unrealistic to expect them to fill the void left by the absence of a partner. For your own happiness and to avoid becoming a burden to your children, it's important to have someone who can share these years with you. 3. Lastly, financial security. You may be able to navigate youth without money, but in old age, it is indispensable. When we are young, health and opportunity allow us to manage life's challenges. But in old age, as our bodies weaken and illness becomes more frequent, having financial resources becomes crucial. Some may have pensions or savings accumulated over the years, but not everyone is so fortunate. For those without financial security, the burden often falls on their children, who themselves may be entering retirement or facing financial pressures. This situation can lead to stress and tension, especially when the ability to earn money is no longer guaranteed. Having savings or a pension in old age provides the means to care for your health, cover medical expenses, and, importantly, maintain your independence. It prevents you from being a financial burden on your children and ensures that you can live with dignity. Without financial security, old age can become a time of anxiety and dependence, where even the simplest pleasures of life may be out of reach. On the other hand, With sufficient resources, you can enjoy your golden years without worrying about money or being at the mercy of others. The stories we hear of elderly people being mistreated or neglected often stem from financial dependency. Parents who truly love their children will prepare for old age in a way that does not burden their children. Having the means to hire help if needed or to pay for your own care ensures that you can live out your days in peace and comfort. Dear friends, traditionally, Asian cultures have placed great emphasis on children as the primary support system for their aging parents. However, in today's world, it's important to adopt a more proactive approach, as seen in many developed countries. By preparing for your own old age through maintaining your health, securing your finances, and cherishing your life partner, you can ensure a life of dignity and happiness, free from unnecessary dependence on your children. These three pillars, health, a life partner, and financial security, are the most reliable foundations for a peaceful and fulfilling old age. Part 3. Relying on your children after age 70 invites disaster. Dear friends, a few years ago, I came across a photo essay titled "Silver Hair and Bent Backs," struggling to survive in the capital, which depicted the lives of elderly individuals navigating the bustling streets of the city. These seniors were engaged in a variety of jobs, cutting hair, selling newspapers, sharpening knives, and vending drinks, working tirelessly just to make ends meet. I couldn't help but wonder, why, at an age when they should be surrounded by loved ones, enjoying a peaceful and leisurely life, were they still toiling away to support themselves? Was it the heavy burden of financial strain that robbed them of the restful and secure old age they deserved? The images from that essay have stayed with me, a stark reminder of the vital role money plays in our later years. It's only when you witness firsthand the harsh realities faced by seniors without financial stability that you understand the profound connection between money and old age. The truth is undeniable. It forces us to reevaluate our lifestyles and our attitudes toward financial security. Let me share with you some stories that illustrate this point. 1. First and foremost, having money in old age is essential for our peace of mind and security. After decades of hard work, everyone hopes to retire into a life of ease, surrounded by family, with a stable financial foundation and savings to rely on. Unfortunately, not all seniors are so fortunate. Many face loneliness, struggle, and poverty right up until their final days. Take Miss Esme, for example. Her frail hands tremble as she counts the small amounts of money her children occasionally send her. $2 here, $1 there, saving every penny to pay for her medical treatments for hemophilia. Miss M suffers from numerous age-related ailments, such as high blood pressure, stomach issues, arthritis, and chronic back pain. Yet she has never been able to afford proper medical care due to the overwhelming costs. Her children, though they try, can only spare a few dollars now and then for her food and medicine. They give me what they can, but I can't save a single cent. Now, in my old age, I have nothing left, Miss SM says with a bittersweet smile, reflecting on the hardships of her final years. This, dear friends, is the harsh reality for many elderly individuals. As we age, financial worries can weigh heavily on our minds, leading to dependence on our children, or worse, falling into debt. This is why it's crucial to ask ourselves now, what will sustain us in our old age? A pension, reliance on our children, or another source of income? It's imperative to start thinking about these things while we're still young, to live a healthy lifestyle, and to actively save and accumulate wealth for our later years. 2. The second story I want to share is about the importance of having money in old age so you don't have to depend on your children's moods to live. When my second son was 7, my husband passed away suddenly from heat stroke while harvesting in the fields. His death left me with the full responsibility of raising our 2 sons. With no other option, I gave up farming and started selling vegetables at the market to provide for my family. Every day, I was up at 4 a.m. and didn't return home until 4 p.m. My boys had to set their own alarms, cook their own simple meals, and head off to school on their own. Thankfully, they were good kids, understanding how hard their mother worked, and they helped out whenever they could. I remember when my eldest son turned 18 and entered university. Around that time, a widower in our village proposed to me. Despite his kindness and stable financial situation, I refused to remarry. My sons encouraged me, saying, "Mom, we're grown now. You should consider getting remarried. He's from our village, so you wouldn't be far from us, and you're still young. Why live alone for the rest of your life?" But I told them, my only wish is to see you both grow up and become men. No matter how hard or how much I have to sacrifice, my only hope is that you'll live well and that I can rely on you in my old age. As they grew, I devoted myself to building them each a 2-story house so they could marry and start their own families. I poured all my savings into their homes, their shops, their futures. So when I reached old age, I found myself with nothing left. I thought, it's okay. I've sacrificed everything for them. Surely they'll take care of me now that I'm old, but life has a way of surprising you. Living with my children, I had to rely on them for everything, even when I craved a simple treat. When there was a village gathering or a ceremony, I had to ask them for money. It wasn't just my sons, it was their wives too. The discomfort and inconvenience of it all were too much to bear. Last year, when I fell ill and had to be hospitalized for a stomach ulcer, my health deteriorated rapidly. Visits to the hospital became a regular occurrence. Initially, my children cared for me attentively, but as time went on, they grew weary, passing the responsibility from one to the other. As for my daughters-in-law, they began to complain whenever I fell ill. How is it possible to get sick so often, they would grumble. When I asked for something as simple as a bowl of porridge, they would argue over who had to make it. Since last year, due to my declining health, I've handed over the responsibility for family ceremonies to my eldest son. But instead of stepping up, my children argue over who has to handle it. Why should we take on all this responsibility? She's still alive. Isn't she? One of my daughters-in-law fumed. These experiences have left me deeply saddened. After a lifetime of sacrifice for my children, I never imagined I'd end up in such a difficult situation, depending on them for everything. Dear friends, as we grow older, we will inevitably face many unexpected challenges. No one can predict what tomorrow will bring. The only thing we can do is live well today. In old age, when our health is not what it used to be, earning money becomes nearly impossible. It's crucial to have a retirement fund, enough to support ourselves and ensure we don't have to rely on others. Many people, upon retiring, give all their money to their children, hoping they will take care of them in return. Do you think this is the right approach? In reality, this is nothing short of gambling, staking your entire savings on the hope that your children will be dutiful and caring. If you lose, you not only lose your financial security, but also your peace of mind. As we all know, life is full of uncertainties, and in old age, we are particularly vulnerable. Without money, we risk becoming a burden on our children, or worse, being neglected. So it is imperative that we secure our financial independence to live with dignity and peace of mind without having to depend on the whims of others. Money may not be everything in life, but it can be a powerful ally in ensuring your health and comfort in your golden years. After retirement, having financial security allows you to explore the world with friends, pursue hobbies and interests you never had time for in your younger days. With financial stability, you can indulge in life's finer pleasures, sipping premium teas, enjoying nutritious meals, and dressing in attire that makes you feel special. Many people find joy in their later years through travel and new experiences, but these adventures often require careful financial planning and the understanding support of a life partner. True happiness lies in the companionship of a loved one as you explore the world together, creating memories that make life truly meaningful. Dear friends, as the pace of population aging accelerates, it is crucial for each of us to plan ahead and build a financial cushion for our senior years. This not only ensures our own well-being, but also eases the burden on our families and society. While it's often said that having children is essential for support in old age, life can be unpredictable. The best gift you can give yourself and others is independence, both financial and emotional. Start saving early and make it a habit that leads to a peaceful and fulfilling life as you age. In the end, relying on yourself, being self-sufficient, is a profound form of happiness. Take the steps today to ensure that your future is one of dignity, freedom, and contentment.
If you find these stories inspiring and they motivate you to take action, please comment 9. If not, comment 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for your valuable time.